Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another game here at the Overwatch All-Star Brawl, as presented to you by Star Esports, and also brought to you in part by OmniCoach. You can visit OmniCoach for 10% discount on your first video package order with the code STAR Esports. Today, we're going to have the second game, Torbulance versus SK Esports, and that's going to be still the first part of the upper bracket, week 1, game 6. And today I'm joined by Shy Guy. I'm man of class, and we're gonna have a good one, I feel. How are you feeling about it, Shy Guy?
No, I'm very excited to see these two teams going at it. Of course, if you weren't with us for our match earlier tonight, we saw Redacted take on the New England Whalers, come away with a 3-0 victory there. So whoever comes out on top of this next match will be going up against Redacted in the next round.
Yeah, Redacted showing up very strong, but we know both of these teams as well. I mean, we've seen Torbulance before, we've seen SK Esports before, maybe under different banners, but we know the players, we know the teams, we know that they're capable of great things. If they're allowed to get that far. So yeah, very much looking forward to this one. Once again, gonna be starting out on a Junkertown, which is, I mean, it's an interesting map. We saw it work out pretty well before for Redacted. We saw some interesting strats coming out there.
Certainly, you see a whole lot of Orisa, and we saw a ton of snipers on this map earlier tonight, and I have a feeling we might be in for more of the same here in our second matchup. This is going to be very interesting to me, especially. These are two teams I've seen for quite a while here. Torbulance formerly playing up under the Nevermore banner, where we're actually our runners up in the May tournament a couple months back, have since retooled, changed orgs, and are back and ready to give it another go here. And this will be the first chance for me, at least, to see their new roster in action. So I'm very excited for what we've got in store.
Yeah, it looks to be a good one. And obviously, there's 12 players on the field, maybe even more if they get some subs in. So don't forget to look out for your favorite. There's an MVP panel that's going to be live underneath the Twitch VOD Twitch stream. And you can just click on the player you like most. If you're on DLive, don't worry about it. You can still go to Twitch and vote on it, and then just go back to DLive. We'll just not tell anyone. And yeah, that's basically it. Obviously, if you want to subscribe, we also appreciate that. Appreciate donations. We just appreciate every support of any kind, to be honest, because it's just a great thing to do this and to be able to continue to do this. And yeah, looking forward to doing more of it. So we're gonna get into the game pretty shortly. We've seen some changes lately, not on Junkertown as such. I mean, Junkertown has seen the GOATS meta, to be honest. But the first point especially, that's not really the case.
No, definitely not. It's becoming harder and harder and harder to run the GOATS on this map in particular, at least on point A. Once you get into point B, and then especially towards the end of the map, it becomes much more viable. But teams are definitely having a hard time running it, especially if you break it out kind of on your defensive setups. You are very vulnerable to the attackers just kind of hard countering you by going over to something like a triple DPS setup. I believe we even saw 4 DPS on the field earlier tonight when one of our teams tried to break out GOATS to start things off. So you've got to be adaptable to how the meta is changing if you want to have success here on Junkertown.
Yeah, and it's a map that we saw often banned out in previous editions of the tournaments we've been running. So it's good to have it as a starting map, because it cannot be banned out. We do obviously still run the pick and ban system. So after a map has been won or lost, basically after a map has been played, the winning team gets to ban a map out of the pool that will not be played for the series, and can therefore also dictate a little bit of what the next map is going to be. So that might come into play later, but Junkertown cannot be banned out this time because it's the first map we're playing. So yeah, very much interested to see what the teams are going to do with that. Yeah, I mean, talking about Junkertown, you said it before. We saw a lot of snipers, see a lot of DPS coming out, but there's a lot of untold or unknown lore about Junkertown still. There's a lot of things we don't know about it, but also things we do know about it. For instance, Wrecking Ball started his mech fighting career there. We still have the Junker Queen, who we've seen pictures of, but might she be a hero? Will she come out? Mrs. Hero 31? We don't know. There's a lot of question marks still about them, but I'm really interested to find out more about that. Like, what's your fun fact about Junkertown, if you have one?
My fun fact about Junkertown. I really enjoy seeing like the wanted posters of Roadhog and Junkrat on this map, and in general, I really you talked about the lore that we haven't gotten yet. There's nothing more that I want in my life than like an animated short or like a comic book of Hammond's time in like the Junkertown fighting pits. That is ripe for some high comedy. You got the cute little hamster destroying everybody's hopes and dreams and ruling in the Aussie outback. I mean, this is a really out there kind of concept for a map here in Overwatch, and that's kind of saying something considering when you think about what some of the other maps in this game are.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like you say, that cinematic, because that would be a perfect one to lead in Junker Queen as a hero.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because then she's obviously the one that is like the queen of the whole mech battle arena, etc. It's like she'd definitely be pulling up things there. I still remember the days though when it was still on the PTR, the map, when you could get into the enemy spawn as a defender. You could get into the attacker spawn and just go up, even as a defender, like as an attacker as well. You could go up into the rafters, get up on the roof. Like I've even seen people like fly away across the sky, like across the cliff outside of that spawn door, just floating towards the city. And then they're kind of lost out of nowhere. But map breaking on PTR. Unfortunately, it's not the live game, but also fortunately, because sometimes stuff might happen that you don't want to do. Because in that same PTR patch, I think it was just May that could go through any wall, so she could also just on Hollywood, she could get inside of buildings and then still shoot people through them. Like it was a bit annoying. But luckily, these teams are playing on a much more stable or at least fair patch when it comes to that. So we're not going to be seeing any wall edits coming out. It's not Fortnite, guys.
Yeah, that's what the PTR is for. So it protects us from shenanigans like that, which while entertaining, are not what we want in our competitive games in a tournament like this. We want everybody on a level playing field. So that's what we're going to have here tonight. And so far, it looks like we are seeing a very interesting defensive setup coming out from Torbulance right now. It was 4 DPS for a second, but that Torb is not going to be on the field. Their namesake, unfortunately, not going to be in the lineup just yet, but still a triple DPS setup, including Racuna on the Junkrat.
Yeah, and that's obviously a very much a pick that works on the defense a lot of the time because it does a lot of damage. But yeah, I mean, you can basically just keep spamming them in their spawn, and that's all you really want because you can do a lot of damage to them. But behind that shield especially, you have such a free reign of spamming them down wherever you want. It does a lot against Bastions maybe to set it up, so that's probably why they're running it, right?
Yeah, I think the idea here is that you are going to win the shield war. Red Sledge is going to see that Orisa shield get taken down very, very quickly by the mines, by the spam from Sirius on the Roadhog. And that's just going to give opportunities for Tony and Snozzler to really just pop off on these snipers.
I already see them come out immediately. The snipers start shooting at each other. The Orisa spam comes out as well. Not so much of the nades just yet. So maybe Racuna is waiting for his chance. I don't really know what's happening, but it doesn't really seem like they want to start pumping out the nades so far. It's a little bit idle right now.
It's almost like he's trying to hide the fact that he's Junkrat.
Maybe. So right now they will definitely be able to see the hero. The Halt hook wasn't quite there. The range was a little bit long. That's a bit unfortunate, but the Halt on the other side also doesn't get much. They do start getting the damage on. The nades are flowing now, so Racuna is already going up to that ultimate. But then Kala and Machu just pop up on the flanks, get the sniper, get the Junkrat. Now it's just going to be Tony and trying to defend, but it won't be enough. Because him and Droon both going down, serious fall, and it's just going to be lore there. But that's not going to be enough. And there wasn't really a lot of defense going on there, was there?
No, they didn't really seem to have their heads on a swivel, which is what you need on Junkertown. You've got to be watching these flanks. The snipers can pop up from any angle on point A there, and Kala comes around the back, gets the opening pick. Madshu, managed to get a kill of his own. And with that, the defense on point A falls pretty swiftly for Torbulance.
SK Esports making good time here already, still 5 minutes in the bank, and they're gonna push even harder. And there's so much space being given here from the defense. It looks pretty scary for them, and they do have the high ground now to throw a lot of damage on them. That leads to the death of Class Nation. Kala also falling, and there's the imprecise from Snozzler. They will not escape with their lives as Tony is just, well, closing the door on them, really. The Halt doesn't get anyone. Doesn't really need to, because Tony is still ready to shoot some things. Red Sledge going awfully low, but does get out alive, and that's a good one. There's a lot of ultimate charge going over to Lum and Luke Mino.
Yeah, Tony gives SK a taste of their own medicine here on Junkertown, goes on the flank, gets a double kill, and secures that fight for his team. Now the Valkyrie's coming out on both sides as the engagement comes in.
Oh, the Dragon! It gets boosted, they get pulled back into it, so Druin and Snozzler both going down. They don't even get a kill with a tire because it just gets shut down by Luke Mino. Racuna does get the kill here onto Machu. That might make a difference if they can't res it up, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to, although Lum does try to take the position. No, they can't. So it's going to be still a relatively even fight, especially to the two of the Orisa, and they take down Kala. They take down Class Nation. Kala does get res, but missing that Roadhog is such a big boon, well, for the defense. So they're going to be able to hold on here, but it's looking a bit chaotic.
Yeah, Sirius buying so much space for his team during that fight, staying on the cart with the take a breather, pulling out the whole hog to get them separated and pushed back a little bit, buying his team some time to regroup and come back into that fight. They have really stabilized here on point B and are starting to make something out of this defense.
They really got that real estate those real estate prices working in their favor. Snozzler and Druin do get pulled up, but don't get finished off. The pool on the other side doesn't get much because of the 4-5 Red Sledge. So it's just a bit of this stalemate, going back and forth, throwing a lot of damage down. But if it's all about spam, Racuna is going to be happy. He takes down Kala, who switched over to the Sombra. Machu goes on another flank, takes down Snozzler, and now it's just going to be Tony trying to contest that. But there goes the tire. They get Machu from the hook. And Racuna going for the Orisa. No, goes further. Goes into the spawn. And it actually doesn't even get the DMAC on the Class Nation. Meanwhile, Luke Mino, he took Racuna down, but paid for it with his life, so might not be worth it.
Especially not with the res coming in there for more. So SK going to have to wait for Luke Mino to respond, and he makes the swap over to the Ana despite being at 80% on the Transcendence before that fight. So willing to give up a lot of ult charge to get a comp that's a little bit more synergistic.
Yeah, and at some point you might want to just try something different. They're going to go with this dive style Machu on the Genji. They might be doing something, but they still have to get close in order to do their damage. They don't have that much range going on, and Tony does get dove on. Lum is just able to get that finish. They also get Lure, but Machu and Class Nation both losing a life and a mech, so it is sort of even in the trades. But they need to start getting some more in the defense if they really want to hold on here. Snellstar throws out the Infrasight. They gets no value out of that one. Druid is forced onto the cart. Racuna falls. It looks like this might be finally the point capture here for SK.
No, it looks like it is going to come through here. Torbulance not going to have an opportunity to push back in and retake position on this card. Just going to give up point B as they make wholesale swaps. We're the only one sticking on the same hero as they move on to the third point of Junkertown. Wants to use that Valkyrie, and then will probably making a switch himself.
Yeah, nice going on here. We see another wholesale swap coming up from the attackers as well, going over to the Sombra Goats composition now fully. So no more Winston, no more Diva. And there is the EMP straight away because Kala had charged that up. It's a huge one. It hits basically everyone. It also means that basically everyone's going to die here. It takes them a little bit, but it's not going to be a hard fight to win for them.
And that's fantastic for SK right here. They get to use the EMP, and then they get to build their ult economy off of the back of that, while Torbulance are still kind of reeling from losing point B, losing that last fight. They're making yet more swaps here as we approach the end of the map, and this is looking very, very solid for the attackers.
Going over to the Torbjorn Mei combos. This is basically the Clockwork Vendetta style, using that Mercy and the Ana as well. A lot of healing. Rakuno goes very low, but does manage to stay alive, and now they're going to be able to start spamming. They have the range, they have the damage, they have the CC. They should be able to do a lot here, and Kala almost making it through with that hack. Doesn't get much further. The Shatter doesn't get much from Red Sledge. Lum is able to dodge everything, and now it's going to be the attack coming out for the defenders. They're just going to be on them. Racuna takes down Red Sledge. No more shield to save you. Matthew is on the cart, but that's not going to be long, and does manage to stave off a little bit of the follow-up for the rest of his team, but they're not running away far enough. They might actually get killed even further. As I say that, though, Kala gets the kill to Racuna, and that's probably the defenders backing off a little bit again.
Certainly, they'll wait for the respawns, make sure they'll be full 66 for the next fight. But Druin, they're taking so much aggro from SK as they tried to push forward using the Earth Shatter. He also takes the nano boost to survive and just takes so much damage. Now the EMP could blow things wide open.
The EMP blows it open, and just the Graviton to follow it up, the Nano Reinhardt, they just throw everything in the kitchen sink anthem, and why not? If you win this fight handsomely, you immediately get the map finish, and that's what they do. They have some time left in the bank, not quite over a minute, but time left is never something you're going to be angry about.
No, especially here on Junkertown, and I think we've seen so far tonight that it can be very difficult to even get near the end of this map. So to finish it and to have a little bit of time remaining, that is really all you can ask for your first attack if you are SK. Now Torbulance have to find the answers here. They need to finish all 3 points if they want to avoid going down 1-0.
Going down 1-0 is not the worst thing in the world, obviously, but you'd rather be up 1-0. That's always the worst thing, or the better thing to do. But the question now, obviously, is what's Torbulance going to run their attack? Because they ran a few different things in their defense, and the attack was also quite varied from SK. But it could be that they're running out with this, what they're running right now. I don't think so, because they don't have support running out right now. On the defense, though, that looks a little bit more likely.
Certainly, the double sniper setup there, they're changing things up a little bit here, not going to be running the solo heals this time around. So I like this look from the side of SK. It's going to be very versatile here on Junkertown, going to be able to keep track of all the different angles that you've got to watch for and make a good showing of it here. But the pirate ship may very well be happening for Torbulance.
Especially if they do a double top pirate chip. They do choose to switch over to the D.Va on Sirius' side, so no Torbjorn and Bastion combo. But they're still going to put up that Bastion. He's just immediately going to melt that shield. What do you mean you have an Orisa shield that's unbreakable? It just doesn't exist with this Bastion around, especially if they keep damage boosting him. And they also have Racuna and Druin just completely shooting at it constantly. Snozzler on the off angle. Sirius is doing a good job getting that flank out of the way. Just make sure that Matthew cannot progress too far forward, and Kala is meanwhile also being challenged. So good job here so far from Torbulance. They are putting some pressure on them.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job of getting that shield break, which means that Tony can't just stay on the cart indefinitely. He has to be worried about those hooks coming out from Class Nation. So they're staying competitive in the shield war despite not having the added DPS of the Bastion.
Kala going down is big, and he's so far away, wide in the open. There's nothing that they can do to res that. Snozzler falls on the other side. They do go for the res, and they do get it off, but so do they get it on Snozzler, so it's still even. And with Luke Mino going down, that's a good start here for the attackers. It's actually going to be Sirius is still out of mech, but is able to almost get that back. Ult charge-wise, the Dragon doesn't get anything, but splits the team up. They do get Lum, though, and getting the pick on Lum is a big deal, especially since Luke Mino is already down. No more supports for the defense here, but Sledge on another pressure from that Dragon. Class Nation will fall, and Red Sledge also as a result. Kala, Racuna is just on a tear here on that Hanzo. And we've seen so much good Hanzo play coming out already tonight. Racuna just puts another one in there.
Certainly, Torbulance plays that incredibly patiently here in the first fight. There, they take it slow and steady, knowing eventually that they are going to win the Battle of the Shield War, and trusting their snipers to eventually find that opening pick.
And they're going to continue now. Obviously, they have a little bit more momentum. Don't have to switch anything up. Neither does the defense, though. Kala has gone over to the Sombra, but they have most of their ultimates approaching besides the Dragon. So that's going to be an interesting thing. But Tony on this Bastion, so established on this card, just continuously pouring out the damage. But that hack, that hook, everything coming together there. Tony has to back off hard now, but he is able to stay alive. So that's going to burn out well for them. Class Nation using his ult. Doesn't have it anymore. Machu falling to Raccoona already. And there's the Bastion ult. All the damage being poured in. He's going to go hard into this. They don't get any kills from it, but they do force out the Transcendence. There's the Dragon coming out from Raccoona. They get the kill into Kala. He's the vanilla headshot on the Sombra. Tony gets hooked again. The Class Nation not able to get that final blow. And it looks like it's just going to be Torbulance progressing further through this Junkertown map.
Yeah, once again, the patience for Torbulance is immaculate. They back off as soon as the supercharger and the whole hog come out from the side of SK. They give up some ground, and Raccoona is still able to find the long range kill, even as his team is backing off. So they are able to keep this momentum rolling. We are now looking at nearly 5 minutes to finish this last point of Junkertown.
Yeah, and Snozzer just used the info site to say, if you want to come in, we immediately have the sights on you coming into this point. They do still, the info site's now over, but Kala is already scouting on the card. Is already hacking the players up. Doesn't quite land the hack, but meanwhile, Snozzer does go down to Luke Mino. Nice headshot from that Zenyatta player. And the Dragon, once again, it forces him up the cart. Doesn't get any kills. So it's going to be hard for them to come back in with this, though, because the gate's now closed. There's a very small choke. It looks like they're going to be ready for them wherever they want to enter.
That was a very heads-up play coming out from SK, because now, like you said, they've got control of these choke points. Madshu just spamming away, Kala building up to that EMP, and that is pretty much a death sentence for the pirate ship comp.
Yeah, now the question is, are they going to switch anything up? It doesn't look like they're quite ready to do so, because they've got some zoning tools of their own, but it could be that it might not be a smart choice. We'll see, though, because they can make it work. Kala doesn't have the EMP just yet. They throw the Dragon for some zoning. They still do have the self-destruct, but Sirius is not just ready to use it because he is hacked up and gets demacked, actually. Tony uses the ult, doesn't get any value from that, immediately just goes down to Machu. The res will come out, and they are going to be able to drop down because Kala is now finally down. Class Nation out of the mech as well. They throw the Nano onto Red Sledge, and he can do a lot of damage, but not as much as Drew and Tony combined with that supercharger. So it's going to be the advance here from the pirate ship, and Bastion is still going to be able to set up on the payload.
The supercharger is such an impactful ultimate when you've got these Orisa setups on either side. No one can really push into to take out the supercharger very quickly, and so it just rips through shields. It rips through even the nano boosted Red Sledge there, and gets the payload moving once again here for Torbulance.
Nice EMP, just hitting everyone that it needs to. The Bastion, the Orisa go down straight away. Lure is still hacked, so they're not going to be able to res anything. And it looks like this is going to be a hold for SK Esports. And this is where you'll likely see some switches coming out. Tony going over to the Baptiste, actually to the Ana. And it looks like they keep running with this. Snozzer going over to the Sombra. They get the kill onto Kala really early. Raccoona going over to the Genji. This could be a very quick attack. This is a dive comp, guys.
Fascinating, and you know this should work pretty well against what SK are running. They can get onto the vulnerable backline, and they're in deep already.
Yeah, Amelia Dragon comes out from the defenders, but there's so much damage from the defense coming out with the supercharger that they didn't even need the Dragon. Everything else there was just enough. Raccoona gets a consolation kill here onto Machu, but don't think he's going to get much more than that. Does get out with his life, though, and that is sometimes more important than anything else.
Certainly, and now SK have already done a very admirable job of taking time off the clock here. You know, bleeding down over half of the time bank that Torbulance had. But Snozzer approaching that first EMP, and that could be what really gives them the chance to push forward.
And they don't have that much time left, but if they get a good EMP off here, they will probably finish the map within that one push. So Snozzer really under pressure to get a good EMP off, almost has it online. And They're trying to push into this Orisa shield, but like you said, so much spam going out. The Nano Winston goes in deep, goes straight for Zenyatta. They force out the Transcendence. That will not be able to negate the EMP, but it doesn't really need to if they just get the kill onto Zenyatta and Lucio. Was that worth it? That's the main question you gotta ask yourself.
I think that's ultimately probably worth it if you are Torbulance right there. You use your Nano Boost, and it forces out both the Nano and the Transcendence from the side of SK. Now you can come back in here with that EMP, and really SK has no tools to survive this. If you land a good one, the fight should be yours.
The only thing that can save them is a good pulse bomb from Kala, and Kala's obviously going to be scouting for that one, but it's not a Sombra. She's not invisible. The Snozzler is. The Snozzler is already in the backline. They're on Red Sledge. Red Sledge just gets deleted. No EMP necessary, and now it's just going to be Class Nation Kala on the cart. They do get Lure, because Lure walks past the pulse bomb Sirius. Sirius gets the mech as well. This is such a good defensive start already. Kala will probably finally fall, but not before actually doing so much damage that the defense might be able to hold here. 16 seconds. This is going to be their last fight, and we're still waiting for that EMP from Snozzler. It finally comes out, but it only really hits the Zenyatta and the Winston. They do go down, which is a big deal. But with that Molten Core, they might be able to hold on. As I say that, though, that's a Nano Blade, and if it's a Nano Blade from Raccoona, you know that's going to be the map finish. So both teams finishing the map. Slightly faster time here for the side of SK, though.
Certainly, but ultimately not going to be, a huge difference here. 39 seconds. It gives you potentially one extra attack at some point in this round. So it could be impactful, but more than likely, this kind of comes down to who can go further in overtime. Yeah,
and now we're running to this territory where we can look at what both these teams do before. Like what comps they ran, how far did they get, where did they get help most, and that might be a more impactful factor rather than how much time do they have left.
Certainly, and I think that will really be a boon for SK as they come into their second defense here. They recognize at this point that the Bastion is probably going to be there once again from the side of Torbulance, so they're going to counter it with one of their own.
And now the main question is this Symmetra going to come out, and where are they going to teleport to? Because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of places you could teleport to, but it's still a very interesting premise, and it does look like they want to go with it, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. We at least have the Bastion on the defense with the Baptiste.
Yeah, I don't think the Symmetra are going to last too long. Maybe just something you could do if the defenders were holding right outside the spawn, but instead they'll just be making their way towards the cart pretty quickly. But
Druid, no shield goes down. He does fall. But the risk is there, luckily, because they are able to do it in they'll die in a relatively safe position. But it does look like they might want to switch a few things up here. I don't know exactly what they're going to go for, but half of the team is returning to spawn. It's going to be the Orisa Road Dog. We still have the Pharah Mercy out. Kala actually falling to Tony. That's a big deal because that Sombra was all the way in their spawn, so the Mercy cannot res that. Even with the Immortality Field, that's going to be a risky one. So they're going to be able to push hard forward. The Immortality Field is out, but it's already out. That's the main thing you're going to have to be worried about. They're going to not have that for the rest of the fight. It's a long cooldown, so they're just being pressured backwards. The halt is good. Will Matthew fall? Yes, he does. So does Luke Mino. This is a very good push coming out here for Torbulance, and it looks like they might be able to just get point A just off the back of that one play. Very nicely done. Good adaptations, though.
Yes, they catch SK on the retreat there. They see the Bastion for the defense, and they make their changes immediately. They don't have a lot of time to work with, but they use it effectively there. And now, how do you re-engage into this fight with the Bastion?
Yeah, they don't really have room to set the Bastion up because the shield is constantly broken. Matthew does do it because they have the Baptiste ultimate. They have the Immortality Field, but will it be enough to actually save them from this attack? It does look like it because they get 3 kills, they get 4 kills, they get everything. It's just Bob on the point, and with overtime already running, they need to get a little bit more. They do get a good barrage out. They get both the Orisa and the Diva mech, but they need a little bit more. It's just Snozzler on the cart alone as the Ashe. Sirius is behind him as the Sombra, but will not be able to make it, and that's where the cart will stop. Almost making the checkpoint A, but not quite.
And that amplification matrix that comes out for SK is their saving grace. Even as the shield is constantly being torn down over and over again, they're able to put that down, melt through Red Sledge, melt through Druin pretty much immediately, and in that fight there before Torbulance can capture the checkpoint here on point A. So SK got to be feeling very good about their position right now. A minute 39 to get through most of point A is not the easiest thing to do, but they looked very strong in their first attack.
Yeah, 1 minute 39, not a whole lot to work with, but it still should be enough for point A. So a lot of teams that, unless they're playing against something really good, just usually take point A relatively quickly because of that whole counter switch mechanic that you touched upon before. That you can basically see what they're running on the defense, just switch to what you want to like what works best against that, and just win. Like it's that simple, guys. If you're in a ranked game, you start an attack. Just wait until you see what the defenders have and switch to whoever counters it, because that's how it works.
Well, speaking of what the defenders are running, they are going to break out a triple DPS setup. We're going to be incredibly important here as the solo healer cannot afford to go down early, or that could be the end of Torbulance.
Could very well be the end of Torbulance, but looking good so far. Torbulance taking a very defensive setup. Once again, Druin already down. This is not what you want to see. Sirius falling, and Lure will not be able to get that res off because it's just too much pressure, and it might already be over and done with. No defensive effort whatsoever from Torbulance once again, and this really looks like a repeat of the first attack.
Certainly, I don't think they were ready for the Bastion to come out from the side of SK, and now that Amp Matrix means no one's going to get close to this cart as it rolls to the yellow box of victory, and SK Esports take our first map.
Yeah, and when we look at the offensive effort from Torbulance, they look really good on that part, but on the defense, they looked a little bit flustered on both occasions. Yes, they stalled out for a little bit of time, but it didn't look as strong as their attack did. Like, what's like a big part of that, do you think?
No, I think their attack was just very well suited for Junkertown. They got a lot of momentum off of that, initial Bastion pick the first time around, and really stormed through the map off the back of that. But when it came to the defense, they were just a little off kilter. They weren't keeping an eye on all of the angles that you need to pay attention to as the defenders here on Junkertown. They just weren't as locked in.
Yeah, because I felt that I saw them not really going forward, but just standing very far back and hoping that would just make them more prepared. But it didn't seem to work out for them. Obviously, we're not on their comms. We're not on their heads. We don't know exactly what they're planning, what they're doing. So it's all speculation. But I'm you gotta wonder if we see a certain tendency start to arise here. And when we go to further maps, that might be something we see more of. But it might also just be an escort, or especially a Junkertown quirk that we see. So not the biggest deal in the world. There's still a lot of potential for them to pull everything back and get wins on other maps.
Yeah,
so
Junkertown.
What the map ban gonna be?
Oh yeah, that's true. We will have the map bans coming in just a second. SK of course gets to ban out one map that they don't want to play. It will be gone for the rest of the series. And then Torbulance, as the loser of map 1, will choose map 2. So, like you said, they have a lot of opportunity here to kind of change up the dynamic. Junkertown is honestly a map in this game that is hard to compare to any others. It doesn't play the same as any other map in this game, and it's a little hard to draw general conclusions from a map like that.
Yeah, and do you feel like, because like I said, I felt like they had a little bit of a passive tendency inside of Torbulance. Do you think there's other maps that just better, better maps they could maybe go to, like just different maps or different styles of maps maybe?
I mean, certainly there are a lot of different styles. I mean, if you want to take us perhaps somewhere where you could go back to kind of a tankier setup, some maybe not necessarily goats, because we frankly haven't seen a whole lot of that recently anymore. But you go somewhere like Temple of Anubis, where you get a much different dynamic, much more close quarters type of map, and really throw a wrench into the system here and just go in a completely different direction from what we just saw.
Yeah, no, obviously, and I'm really looking forward to maybe seeing a very different map style. Like especially control map could maybe really work out well for them. But it also like depends because Torbulance, like it sort of sounds like they would play a lot of Torbjorn, and they did at times. But the Torbjorn play has not really been amazing from either team, really, because they both played it on that last part of the of Junkertown there as a defensive effort. But it didn't really get that much value, did it?
No, and I mean that's kind of in general what we've been seeing on Junkertown. It's hard to get value out of something like a Torb because it's a map where the snipers kind of run wild, and Torb has an incredibly hard time dealing with that. It's not easy to find value when you're getting poked down from long range, and we definitely saw that there on that final defense where Torbulance brought out the Torb for their last stand, but really couldn't get any value out of it whatsoever.
Yeah, so Horizon's going to be banned out, so we won't be seeing that. Meanwhile, though, while teams are deciding whatever they do want to play, you can still decide on who you think is the best player right now, who you think is your player of the match, the MVP, and you can vote on that underneath the Twitch stream. There's going to be a panel. It's going to be names of players. You just click on the name you like most, and it'll give them a vote. Person with the most votes wins. It's a pretty simple system, guys. It's not that hard. Obviously, we do understand if you feel it's not time yet to really elect a MVP yet, because we've just only seen one map. It could go all the way to 5, and then you might be like, oh, well, this guy only was good in Junkertown, and then where else are they good? Well, they're still good, but not as MVP like as they were in Junkertown. So you gotta maybe take that into account. Go for that one. If you're on DLive, go over to Twitch, do the same thing. While you're at it, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, donate bits. It's all good. We like having you guys here. We like being here, and I feel like the teams also like playing, because otherwise they probably not sign up anymore. So yeah, really looking forward to that, and support us as much as you can or want to, because we're not going to force you into anything. And with that, it looks like we're going to go over to Hanamura, going to see an assault map here, and that's going to be interesting. So we're going to see a switch in sides as well. SK Esports going to be starting on the defense this time. They're going to be in the blue, Torbulance in the red. And that could change the dynamic up a little bit, especially the map type.
Certainly, and I mean, I think the trend with assault maps in general has been really high-scoring affairs as of late. As teams are starting to pick up more of the DPS compositions, it seems to be a little bit harder to really lock down on the defense and shut people out. So there's an opportunity for this to go several rounds.
Yeah, and sure, but that several round style has been a little bit harder to get done, especially with the recent assault changes. We do see like second rounds, so just getting to 4 points maybe, but much further than that we don't get that often anymore with that.
That's true. We have a minute less than we used to, so it is a little bit harder to rack up the crazy scores that you saw in the past. But
yeah, and especially things like Draw Namura and Draw Nubis, the Horizon Draw Colony. I don't know what you want to call it for. Like there's they're not as big of a meme as they used to be, and I think it's been a very good change. I think most people really like it. Most players really experience it well. It has a lot to do with not just the time allotted, but also that respawn mechanic after point A is captured. It really makes for a more engaging point A defense rather than we lose a fight, we lose the point. It's just you can go again and just put a little bit more pressure on them.
Certainly, and now coming out on the defense this time again, the Bastion worked so well there on Junkertown for the side of SK that they kind of want to go back to that well again.
Yeah, maybe they do. I mean, they are definitely here setting up hard with that Bastion defense. And SK, I mean, they've been showing up hard on that. Gonna see a full dive on the attack, or at least a dive-esque composition. But they might switch up when they see what's being run. They do have a Sombra of their own. They know they're going to dive in hard, going straight for that. The Immortality Field is going to defend a lot, but not defend everything. It's going to be Druin and Sirius, and Lore is being completely denied. Finally, the Immortality Field goes down, but it does look like it's going to be enough. They do get the kill here on the Bastion, but Lum is probably just going to be able to res that back up, so will not be the biggest loss for them.
No, not the worst thing in the world. They're very happy with that first defense. Luke Mino, they're very patient with that Immortality Field. Doesn't throw it down immediately when that dive comes in. Waits until his team gets a little bit low so they get maximum value out of that before it gets taken down. The all-in approach to that dive doesn't quite work out for Torbulance.
They do chase Kala away. Both Sombras getting decent value out of their EMP charge so far, but Rakuna already has that Dragon Blade, and they might not expect that to already be online. They do have Kala just completely harassing the Ana though. The Dragon Blade comes out, they do get Machu, but they need to get more if they want to make this worthwhile. They get Red Sledge, and that's a big pick, because that's going to be both the damage dealer and the main defender of the damage dealer gone. Tony does fall on the back line, but they get Luke Mino, and if they get Luke Mino, that means there's not going to be much to defend, like healing to defend with. Lum goes down to Sirius, does not get that res off. And this is such a chaotic fight with a respawn advantage from the attackers. It's probably going to be up to Torbulance to really get this one. They get the kill into Kala as well, using that EMP for that. But there's Machu. He's back. The Bastion's here. The Orisa's back as well. They need to get kills and need to get a lot of value quickly. Otherwise, they're just going to be set up again to these defense.
I don't think it's going to happen here for Torbulance. They lost too many members in the interim of that fight. Kala really popping off on the Sombra. Lugmino does overextend there a little bit, so a brief kind of 5v6 advantage here for Torbulance as they try to push in.
And a big deal as well. Nano on the Winston. The EMP comes out defensively, but they've already lost that Machu positioning. No more Baptiste also to protect them because of that defensive switch to the Lucio, and the Lucio was already down as well. There he comes back. Luke Mino dancing around on the point. We'll go in for that last point defense. A little bit of more time stall, but after about 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes 45. What the hell? They'll get point A, and they'll get another 3 minutes extra to get onto the point B.
They will be ultimately pretty happy with that. They would have liked to take it a little bit faster here, but they will have a bit of an opportunity to kind of roll in here and get some momentum. But they have got the bunker set up on the high ground due SK Esports, so this is going to be a very difficult setup to crack through.
All up to Snozzler to really disable that high ground defense. Maybe they could get a blade in there with that EMP. That could be huge, but they really need to go. And they need to go quickly, because otherwise this defense is going to get stronger and stronger. They don't have that many ultimates now, but wait until they get them.
And right now Torbulance just playing it slow, waiting for these ultimates to come online. They are diving in a little bit ahead of their DPS right now, getting some disruption, but Rakuna goes down.
Yeah, Rakuna goes down, not using that blade. They're also not using the EMP. I don't know what they want to force out anything or do something else. But they're not able to get the value. Meanwhile, Machu is just chilling on that high ground, just completely demolishing the defense. And they're going to reset here. But they do have the Nano Blade for the next fight. They have the EMP. They can deny anything that defenders want to do, right?
Certainly, but if Luke Mino can hit just a little bit of spam as Torbulance are trying to get in onto the point here, he's going to have that sound barrier as a counter to the EMP. If he can hide out of sight and come in with that support ultimate, could allow them to survive even through the Nano Blade.
There's the Nano Blade, comes out straight away, no Immortality Field, so they get the kill to Machu. Red Sledge also falling, and once again, Lum is going to try and get their res out, gets it onto Red Sledge, will fall for that. Luke Mino also going down, no sound barrier for you, and Snozzler still has the EMP, so even if they want to come back and defend, it's going to be so hard to do. There's the Bastion ult, which just got blocked out by the defense matrix. Machu going low already, but there's a sound barrier. This gets cancelled out, but only for the Bastion. The EMP actually didn't hit Lucio and Mercy, or it did, but just sort of simultaneously. I don't know what happened because the sound barrier seemed to stick. But Lum is just flying around on this Valkyrie, healing up as much as possible. Kala is back on the Tracer. It is making Tony's life a living hell. But Snozzler goes for the res. It goes for the help out on his Ana, and they will be able to just delete the Tracer from the game. There's going to be more stall attempts coming in, though. They've switched over to this full stall comp, but there's the self-destruct. Gets the kill to Red Sledge. They get the hack on the Machu. No more res for you. And there is the Nano Blade, probably to clean it up from Rakuna. Will they finally get it here? It looks like they will. Yeah, there they go. That was a long fight, but it never really looked to be winnable for the defenders.
No, certainly not. I mean, it was long enough for a Nanoblade to start the fight and then a Nanoblade to end the fight. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of how long it took for Torbulance to deal with the stragglers. But they do take care of business at the end of the day. They put 2 points on the board here on Hanamura. So ultimately, they got what they came here for, and now they get to set up and go back in for the defense.
Yeah, and we've seen this bunker come out from the defense on two sides, the dive attacking it for both points. Is that the answer to it? Or like what changed basically? Like how could they finally break it? Was it really only the ultimates or were there some switches coming out or
I mean, realistically, the dive is a very good answer to the bunker as long as you can come in with the tools to take care of it. It has a little bit of a hard time, dealing with the initial kind of the neutral fights against the bunker. But once you have that Dragon Blade, once you have that EMP, you can really disable that defensive setup and take a lot of the teeth away from it. You get the Bastion out of turret mode. You disable the immortality field. You stop any and all ultimates from coming online, and it becomes much easier to deal with.
Yeah, and like a big deal as well, because at some point they managed to somehow get Lugmino, and then Lugmino never got back onto the Baptiste. Mm-hmm. Do you think that was I wouldn't say a mistake, but do you think that was a sort of a miscalculation? Do you think they sort of stuck on it?
I think if you are going to be running these bunker setups with the Bastion, I think the Baptiste is almost necessary. Lugmino goes over to the Lucio and never really gets much impact even out of the sound barrier. So a little bit of a rough time there for SK.
We do here see both the Torbjorn and the Bastion. The Torbulance is truly in form now. They're not driving, they're going to be stationary, but that handbrake is going to be pulled on very tight by Tony on the Baptiste. And Lure behind it as well. He knows the emergency brake lights. Even if Snelzer goes down, there's going to be the res. And already Immortality Field pays off. Snelzer get Red Sledge for free. Class Nation is hiding a little bit. It's very low. We'll be able to get out alive, but so much damage being done by that defense. They already got the amplification matrix as well. This is going to be a rough one to break.
Certainly, and right now SK going for the approach of trying to poke down this Orisa shield and then dive in on top as the Hanzo and the Pharah continue laying in damage from afar. This time around, they try to go for an alternate approach, but Red Sledge again just gets melted.
We've heard it before in the interview with Brooks where he just said, you don't dive a Torbjorn as Winston. You just don't do it because it will go bad. And that's exactly what happened to Red Sledge. But there's a huge barrage. Matthew just immediately dismantles that bunker. The Orisa, the Mercy, the Bastion. It's just, that's all over. I mean, it's not just a good barrage. It's just one ultimate, fight one, done. Don't even need the Winston. I mean, why would you even have Red Sledge on your team if Matthew does that?
Oh, and that is beautiful to see from Madshoot right there. And it's going to give SK a real opportunity to turn this into a snowball right here and now. Torbulance swaps nearly everything. Sirius, the only one sticking with his hero here as they move into point B. And so many ultimates coming on the line for SK.
Yeah, definitely, and they do now switch over to a more to a somber 3-2-1 really, and there's already the Transcendence. But Machu falls to Raccoona somehow. That's a big one to lose. They do get their res back up, and they start getting so many kills. I thought that was a good fight starter, but Raccoona not being able to get enough out of that Brigitte in order to get more. That's just the ultimate snowball. 4 minutes something in the tie bank left. That is really quick as a point B attack.
So I'm kind of wondering if Torbulance made a mistake there when they swapped their entire composition after point A. I mean, we already saw from SK that you can still run that Bastion on point B here, but they get off of it, and that means they just don't have the tools to withstand the barrage, the bevy of ultimates that come out from SK.
Yeah, and that was obviously a very big deal. I'm also still wondering, like, how did Machu ever get into the position to get that barrage off that cleanly? Because it was so close to the team. You would have thought that someone would have seen that coming, or that maybe would have moved or something like that. And it still surprised me. But That's not really a question we have to ask ourselves right now. That's something they can look up in the replays. So right now we're just going to get into the second round, and pretty big time dying difference. 1 minute 43 versus 4 minute 39. That's not something you're going to be unhappy about once again, but it's a lot more of a difference of time bank than Junkertown at least.
Certainly, and this is going to give SK an opportunity to pretty much close this out here and now. If you can, if they repeat their defense from the first time around, they will keep keep Torbulance off the board here the second time around. The same approach for Torbulance with this dive comp. Will it have a little bit more success, at least a little bit faster success this time around?
Yeah, Snozler already looking for that hack on the first one. Raccoona just goes in, throws down. Oh, they use the offensive immortality field in order to let Raccoona do a lot of damage there. Already 50% up to that Dragon Blade. That's how they charge it so quickly. They just get Raccoona in there, do the deflect on the Bastion. He just thinks he can't die, which is to a degree true.
He's surrounded by enemies, though.
Yeah, he's surrounded by enemies, but there's so many things coming in. The Bastion's actually hacked, so the immortality field might save him, but he will not be able to do damage through it. Lure does go down for the attackers here, and Sirius will also get demeched, but they are putting some pressure on the point. They are putting some pressure on the defense here, and they're getting those ultimates online. Raccoona has the blade. Snells are almost on the EMP, so this next push could be really big for them.
Certainly, and it's going to have to be. Will be their last chance, and they are pushing into several ultimates on the side of SK. That amplification matrix could be the key here for the defenders. If they can get that set up in front of Mad Shoe, this could be over very quickly.
Yeah, but they need to be able to not be hacked, and so far everyone looks to be in the line of sight for that EMP if Snozler wants to throw it out. Is 2% away from it now. That's gonna be the thing. They're waiting for that EMP to be online, and the Nano Blade. It's gonna be EMP Nano Blade. That's gonna be how they're gonna approach this. They don't even have to use the EMP at Luder's out because he can just hack the Bastion, and Lugmino doesn't even throw out the immortality field. They just die. Once again, it's just the clean execution, and they do use the EMP in the end, but it's gonna be a clean wipe, and that's really what you're looking for at that point. But so many ultimates for the defense.
Right. I think if you're SK, you are kind of okay with that. Obviously, you would have rather get the full hold there, but you've now got to be very confident about your chances as Torbulance roll in here with only the amplification matrix and maybe the self-destruct from Sirius.
Yeah, well, the self-destruct could do a lot. It could have done a lot more if they still had that EMP from Snozler, but that has just been thrown out at the end of that fight, which may not have been necessary, but they used it regardless. And one push, 3 seconds. They do touch the point, so that's a good start. But the bunker set up a little bit on the low ground now, not on the high ground. But Class Nation throws out a bomb. We know Class Nation for the good bombs. Gets another kill with it. Machu, celebratory tank mode. Just get a few kills that you need, and that's going to be a hold here on point B. Almost a tick gotten, but not quite, so it won't really matter. And now it's going to be up to SK to just cap point A and cap a third of point B.
Certainly, and if they can replicate their attack from the first time around, they are definitely in the driver's seat here on Hanamura. They'll ultimately be pretty happy with how that defense went. A point A hold would have, of course, been nice, but a little unrealistic when you've got the Sombra on the other side. Along with the Nano Blade coming in, there was very little chance that they could have held on there. But they play it well. They hold on to enough ultimates to make sure that point B won't fall as well. I
mean, it's hard to not hold on to ultimates when you just get EMP'd, right? I mean, it's you can't really use them. But the EMP really wasn't much of a factor on point A, I feel. I think that's really where you're really gonna look if you're gonna be looking to them. But that doesn't matter. Defense really, I mean, their positioning was nice. They're all ready for everything. Like I said, they didn't even use ultimates when they still could. So even if they had the chance and they just chose not to pull the trigger. Because like you said, even if you lose that fight, they used so much on the attackers that you're just gonna win the fight on point B if you hold on to your ultimates. And that's exactly what happened. So nicely done.
Certainly. Now a slight change on the defensive side of things. For Torbulance here, Snozlar going over to the Ash here. I have a feeling he's going to be on Pharah duty here, keeping an eye out for Mad Shoe. They don't want a repeat of last time.
Yeah, Red Sledge once again going down, trying to jump that right side. Snozzler just taking the 1v1 with Class Nation, winning that one as well. Mecha's already out. And the one change we do see, though, Kala is on the Sombra this time, not on the Hanzo. And that's a little bit different, because that's a little bit less spam going onto the Shield of Raccoona.
Certainly, they're really going to kind of be relying on EMP, and I think the end point here could very well be that EMP barrage combo to crack through this bunker setup there. They're playing it slow right now, just call it, getting some presence on the point, forcing a response.
Oh, the air shot from Raccoona just gets the fire out of the sky, goes for the follow-up onto the Mercy, dodges the sleep dart, gets the kill into Luke Mino. That's some nice Bastion play. That's really using that mobility that you can get out of that tank mode to its fullest degree. I actually did a jump shot to get onto this high ground for the window, got through the window, got the double kill on the supports. I mean, that's some, you could say Bastion just pointing and clicking, but that's a little bit of mechanical skill there for you.
Oh yeah, that's what we love to see. You know, creative use of the ultimate there for Raccoona, and for the time being, Torbulance holding on nicely.
Turbulence definitely holding on nicely, especially if they keep getting this kill on Machu. They do get the Bastion kill here, but they might be able to res that back up on the side of Lure, because he does use the Valkyrie, but they don't get the res. Lund tries to get the res off as well for the attackers, but doesn't really manage to do that. And that's going to be Bob. Just another ult used. It's actually going to be the Orisa hack, not the Bob. They get Snozzler. They get Lure. There's the EMP. This might actually be a very good pusher for the attackers after all, even though they had lost Machu already. And there just go the defenders. Nice EMP usage here from Kala. Although, once again, EMP used on point A, and they don't have it for point B. Will it be enough?
You know, the difference here, though, is that SK are going to have enough time to build up another EMP if they want it. They've got over 2 minutes to work with rolling into point B. They're going to get another 30 seconds in just a moment. And you know, now you've got time to play this patiently, to build up to more of your ultimates, and really put together a solid last attack.
Yeah, they are definitely going to be able to do that. They already have a few ultimates online. Machu, Class Nation, and Lum going to be in that ultimate department. And Red Sledge, once again, goes deep onto Sirius, who actually got hacked up, I think. No, not quite. But there's the barrage going into Druin. We'll get that kill, but Machu falls as a result. Lum going in for the res. Will probably get that off. Yes, he does. The Class Nation's mech falling is going to be probably a very big boon for the defenders. And Red Sledge under pressure. Will he get out? He doesn't quite get hacked, but Snozzler does the damage on a few others, so it doesn't really matter at this point. It's just going to be the defenders holding on strong here. And Snozzler had just switched over to the Sombra. He had an ult charge of Kala.
Yeah, that is excellent for the side of Torbulance here. They're going to need individual plays like that for them to continue to hold on here. And that fight is massive. They get to basically build up their ult economy without having to use much at all. They survive the initial wave of attack coming in from SK, and now they get to settle in for the long haul.
Yeah, and they switch over the Pharah, they switch over the Mercy, so that will be reset ult charges, and they're rallying a Sound Barrier. Rally's already online. Sound Barrier is going to be far ahead from Lure. So that could be a big difference maker here for the defenders.
Certainly, especially as SK are playing this kind of slow right now, losing quite a bit of time. You know,
EMP from the attack comes out. Druin falls immediately. Sirius gets hacked up, but that self-destruct will only get Snozzler. No defensive EMP just yet. It might come out later, but Raccoona is just getting nanoed. The nano Brigitte, and she doesn't enable. So he needs to get on the point. They need to keep getting on the point, and Tony is there. Now it's going to be Druin coming back in on that Wrecking Ball because gets slapped up. But Raccoona is just consistently booped away by Alum. Alum just denies the Brigitte to do anything, and SK Esports, for that reason, closing out this map. It was getting a little bit close there, but they got exactly who they needed to get, didn't they?
Certainly, they got very proactive with Kala's EMP to close out that fight. They managed to get the opening pick onto Druin, and it all starts to fall apart a little bit after that for Torbulance. They can't quite stabilize there. They never get the chance to use their defensive EMP, and without that vital tool, they really don't have a way to turn that fight around.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw that, but there was a micro play going on there where Snozzler was in a position to throw in the Translocator and EMP, but then while he threw it, the Translocator actually got destroyed mid-air. by, I think, maybe like a random diva shot or something. So had that not happened, they might have actually EMP'd first on the defense, and that could have changed a lot. But definitely the case that Snozzler, especially going down there before the use of the EMP, actually got EMP'd himself. That was huge. That was so good. And SK Esports, like you said, so proactive with their own EMP that it just essentially dictated how that fight was going to go. And that's often how it goes when you have Summer v Sombra. Whoever EMPs first is likely going to win.
Certainly, and unfortunately for Torbulance, they just didn't have any wiggle room there. Only a tick before the map was over, and that's all it takes. If you're SK, you don't have to win a fight like you normally do on Hanamura. You don't have to win and then deal with stall. You just have to win. You have to get people off the point, which they did by using the Primal Rage, by using the boops from both the Brigitte and the Lucio to keep Racuna off the point. So they play that very well. They know their win condition, and they take map 2, and they're now on the verge of putting themselves through to the next round.
Yeah, before the next round starts, obviously, we still want to remind you, vote for your MVP players. We've seen quite a few MVP plays coming out from this one. So it's still definitely possible that your mind is still not made up. And there is another map, at least one more map, in order to make up your mind. But yeah, vote if you already know. Just go to that one, that one little box underneath the Twitch, as a panel. If you're in full screen, just go out of full screen so you can actually see it. You can click on a name, and that name will then be the one that you voted for MVP. And while you're at it, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, even if you want, and we'll be sure to give you all the credit you deserve. For now, though, gonna get back into the game. Numbani is gonna be banned, so unfortunately, we will not be seeing that map again. That's a shame. I like Numbani.
No, I definitely do, and I think it would have changed up the dynamic here a little bit in this series. So far, we have been seeing so much bunker, so much of the Bastion from both of these teams, and I don't necessarily think that's what we would have gotten out of Numbani, but alas, not to be, or not in the cards tonight. So we'll see where Torbulance want to take us to make their last stand.
Yeah, I'd say Numbani Ponde is still very good for bunker, if you want to run it at least. But after that, it gets harder and harder. Like, Pirate Chip is not that effective on attack, even after you've capped the card, because it's very hard to set up if the enemy team holds close. But that makes it kind of a good map, right? So you start off with sort of a bunker thing, then you sort of switch to more of a mobile dive-ish composition. And the last point, you can maybe go for more of a goats. It makes a very varied map, and that's why I like it so much, because it's just the strategic depth of it is just very good, in my opinion.
Certainly, and instead it is going to be Lijiang Tower, headed to our first control map of the series here tonight. So Torbulance think they've got something up their sleeves for Lijiang Tower to make a go of it here.
Yeah, Lijiang Tower, of course, a map that we've seen for ages in this game already. Like, it was one of the maps that was in the game very early on. So yeah, a very familiar map. We always say it's a very, very varied map. There's a lot of different things you can do on Lijiang, just depending on which point you get. And Gardens, the one we're going to start on, is currently the one we see DPS on.
Yes, definitely more so than either of the other two maps here on Lijiang. Very wide open, a lot of possibilities for breaking out the Pharah has always been a staple on this map. Even going back to the early days of Overwatch. So definitely wouldn't be surprised to see either team break that out. We saw Mad Shu work wonders with that for SK there on Hanamura. So could definitely be in the cards here on Lijiang as well.
Yeah, it could be, but the main thing I want to be seeing is potentially a Wrecking Ball, which it looks like Red Sledge might be want to play. But are they going to go with this double tank? I don't know what they're going to go for. They're just going to keep switching until they got to go out. I think they just want to mess with us a little bit. That's fine. I'm expecting Pharahs. I'm expecting potentially Sombras. But what else we're going to see, that's the main question. And this double tank look from Class Nation and Red Sledge is a possibility that could be something, because I've seen it before, and it looks like they're going to run out with that. That's going to be good.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting, and so is what we're seeing from the side of Turbulence. The 3-2-1 with Snozzler on that Sombra once again as the fight kicks off. Both teams just trying to posture in the courtyard right now.
They are just flipping around, but it looks like actually it's going to be Torbulence just taking out over the dominance, taking out Red Sledge especially is just a big thing for them, and they're now going to be able to focus down Class Nation on the point because he's hacked up, and that's just not going to be well for Hamster because he really can't do much right now. And yeah, first fight goes to Turbulence in a relatively easy fashion, so to speak.
Ooh, Snozzler goes up into the sky for the aggressive hack on the Madshu, gets it, but gives his life for it, and they can't secure the kill on the Pharah, so a little over-aggression there coming out from Turbulence.
Turbulence just, you know, they try to go in deep, but they lose something for it, and it's going to be Druin going after the pulse of Kala, who gets rezzed back up after they die to Tony, and Red Sledge going over with that Winston, just boops Raccoona off the map. Sirius gets the trade onto Machu, but that's not going to be enough, because it's just all the show of SK Esports right now.
Certainly, Class Nation drops the minefield onto the point to close things out, prevent any opportunity for stall for Turbulence. 34% on the board out of that first take is not the worst thing in the world, but you know, definitely could have gone better there for Turbulence. They overextend just a little bit, and it comes back to bite them. Now they rotate around, going in through the white halls, trying to avoid this Pharah spam.
Yeah, and that's immediately where it comes out. The barrage follows, and Machu does get the kill into Lure, but Druin will also not be so lucky, getting booped off the map. It's just going to be a clean kill here for SK Esports, and yeah, they're really showing up here on this map once again.
Yeah, Madshu getting mad value out of these barrages right now. Doesn't need any kind of setup from the rest of the team. Just drops in, throws it onto Turbulence's heads, and they can't quite get the defense matrix there in time to protect everybody on the team. So now they're going to try to dive in on the back of this EMP.
That EMP just comes out and hacks quite a few people up, but it's not going to be enough to really decisively win the fight. Although with that follow-up, looks like they will finally get it. It's just going to be Turbulence pulling it back, and they are going to get control back of the point. 68% for SK Esports, not really a little bit.
No, definitely not, but it's a good time to flip it back there if you are Turbulence. It means even if you lose another fight here, you'll still have plenty of time to come back in for a full recontest. So they got that one done quickly and decisively, which is what they needed.
Yeah, but Druin goes down earlier. Kala Bubble did not manage to save him there, and this is going to be a very quick fight if they don't manage to pull anything back. The sound barrier does do a lot though, but it doesn't quite block out all the damage from the mine, so Raccoona falls, Lure goes down to the barrage. It looks like a clean fight win once again here coming out from SK Esports, and that will probably also mean that they're just going to win out this... Well, they're going to win out this fight. They're going to get control of the point. Not quite last fight territory though, so they are definitely going to be able to come back in and contest.
Certainly, and they should have Snozzler's EMP to do so in just a minute. He's got a little bit more poking to do to build up to that one, but that should probably be the engage tool here for Turbulence in just a moment.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be it, but Snozzler is not quite ready to do it just yet. It's probably wants to go for this Pharmacy combo, but can't quite get that out. There's already the Dragon coming out from Kala, though, straight through the White Room. They do not get anything from that, but they do split up the team a little bit. That's a huge EMP. Gets all the tanks and Machu, so that will be no flying Pharah, no more life on Red Sledge. Luke Mino also falling, so that's a huge one to get off. But Kala and Lum try and pull it back a little bit. They get the kills onto Lure and Snozzler. Druin also falling. Looks like SK is actually not out of this one just yet, especially with that sound barrier. But the nano onto Sirius. Sirius doing so much damage, tries to get Machu out of the fight, but Machu just manages to get the safety of the health back. Sirius trying to corral everything away on that bridge, but it's meanwhile just Lum going ham, gets a double melee kill in that fight. And Lum is not over. This goes over to the enemy spawn almost. Red Sledge back on the primal, and they do not manage to touch just yet. It's going to be SK taking the first one, but that was a close one.
Certainly, and Turbulence there committed so much to trying to take down Madshu. They EMP'd the Pharah, and they took the Mercy out, which is an excellent place to start, but they could never quite finish off that kill. You know, Druin tried to dive on top of him while he was hacked and couldn't get up in the air, but the barrage came on just in time. The hack wore off, and he was able to take down. And then immediately thereafter, Sirius on the D.Va is trying to chase him down as well, and just can't quite finish it off. So they commit a lot and can never quite get that kill. And it really cost them a little bit here, as once again we're seeing this double dive tank setup for the side of SK.
This time it's going to be the Pharah and the Widowmaker, so no longer the Tracer or anything else on the side of Kala. Lom already falling though, but a little bit aggressive for that boop. Red Sledge also falling because this tight-knit goat setup here, well, dive goat setup, is going to be so good here for Torbulance. They do lose Sirius though to that boop rocket, so it's still a relatively even fight, especially when Matthew just gets to run around, or fly around rather, and just pump the rockets into them. It's going to be Luke Mino going down though, and that's going to be a very hard point to still attack for Matthew, because there's not a lot of damage they can do. Dude managed to take out Tony somehow, but we'll still fall, and that's going to be great.
Yeah, now even when the teams kind of trade members back and forth, what Torbulance are running is still designed to brawl on the point. The remaining members there, Snozlar especially now over onto that Zarya, are just in their ideal environment there. He was so high energy, really laying in the damage, and it's a dangerous place to be if you are SK.
Yeah, Matthew already gets that first pill with Tony, and Tony had just come back from spawn as well, so that was huge. Kala takes down Lure, not a lot of healing left here on the defense, and Sirius also going on to make this looks like it's going to be a relatively easy point take here for SK, and there they go. The Barrage and Kala just finishing everything off that they need to. Tony is back, but not for long, and that's going to be great.
Yeah, for the second straight time here for Torbulance, they get the first flip, but then they lose members early on into the next fight, and they can't really make a long protracted fight. They can't build up a ton of percentage. 47% is not bad here, but they definitely could have had much more if they played it a little bit safer.
Yeah, amazingly, and it's going to be Torbulance trying to come back in here. They do have the Graviton, they have the Coalescence, but with all these boops coming out, it's just not going to be able to stay alive here. They do manage to stay on the cliff, which is amazing because there was so much CC coming out, and with the Grav, they get both the tank kills. Red Sledge gets rezzed, but will not be able to make it back in time to the point in order to actually contest it, so they will flip it over Torbulance, and that's good. Only 27% accrued here for SK, and SK is trying. Red Sledge is in, but Red Sledge will not be able to live and doesn't have the Primal to sustain even further. Matthew, meanwhile, throwing all of the damage in from the side, but you need to be able to get some kills. Just damage is not going to be enough when all your team is dying. Glass Nation also falling, and it's going to be the Torbulance just completely taking over that point in such a rushed fashion that 75%, it's going to be hard to take this back, and they make a late switch over to this Sombra and the solo tank Red Sledge on the Hammond now.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried because if they don't win this fight, Clash Nation is never going to have an opportunity to build up to that EMP. A lot rests on the shoulders of Madshu here with the barrage, the one ultimate that SK are going to have coming into this fight.
Yeah, they're finally going to win. It's a nice boop from Red Sledge. Gets Lure straight away. That's a really good one. Meanwhile, they're trying to do the same thing with Druin on the Winston, but won't actually be able to get anything out of that Primal Rage as it now ends. There's the Barrage from Mechu, but the Matrix was there, so it won't actually get any value, and that's Snozler just taking him out with a Zarya Beam. Looks like Turbulence has got this point all locked up. Luke Mino and Lum falling, and that EMP, while it was charged very quickly, will not be enough to defend this point. And it's going to be Turbulence tying up Li Xiang.
Yeah, a decent start there for SK in the final fight. They get the opening pickoff, but not able to keep the momentum going. Madshu gets completely shut down on the barrage, and without the damage coming out from the Pharah, they had a really hard time securing kills as that fight broke down. The EMP just a little too late to really turn things on its head. And now it's all going to come down to Control Center.
Yeah, Control Center. And that is the one where the multi-DPS will not necessarily work out for you. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether this Clockwork Vendetta style comp will work out versus the pure goats here for SK.
Certainly, and I'm interested to see how Torbulance are going to be making this work here with the Torb and the May here on Control Center. They get the nice hook onto Class Nation, but can't get the DMAC.
Cannot get the DMAC, and they don't need to get the DMAC straight away, but it's nice, and they finally get it after all. So they're gonna have to now try and get into this Orisa bunker, and they do manage to do so, but there's the Immortality Field, so it doesn't really matter if they got there, because they can't kill anyone. There's the Amplification Matrix already coming out here, and it's doing so much damage, but not really getting any kills just yet. We're just still poking around a little bit. And Class Nation actually got back into the mech, but there's a nice shatter coming out here, and Red Sledge seems to just have opened everything up. Looks like this is going to be a first point capture in the end for SK, but they are still holding on here. Torbulance wants to not give up for free, and they don't, but, you know, paying with your life, it might not be the best payment you wanted to do.
Yeah, that's the problem with what Torbulance are running here. You can't really keep your distance on a control map, especially here on the close quarters of Control Center. The tanks of SK can just get right up in your face. Red Sledge builds that Earth Shatter and does go down immediately after he uses it, but is the martyr for his team, and they're able to rally around that, get the kills off the back of it.
Yeah, Snelzer throws out the wall on the end of Blizzard. Red Sledge will not be able to get out of that alive. Yes, he will, because they poop him away with the whole hog ultimate. They use so many ultimates, don't get any kills out of that. And that might be a little bit of miscommunication, but that's not the problem here. They're going to go further. Now they have the Molten Core as well. It's going to come out here. A lot of it being eaten by Class Nation, but he's frozen up, gets DMAC as a result. Red Sledge is just backing up a bit, because they're really scared of this lava, and you should, because it's red hot. Class Nation still out of mech, needs to be a little bit careful with this Baby Diva, but the Shadow gets whooped by the wall. Nicely done. Red Sledge not getting another fight win out of that one. Kala goes down. No more Zarya damage for you, and that's a lot of damage gone for them as well. There's more damage coming out even for Torbulance. They get the Amplification Matrix out. Lugmino falls as a result, and it looks like this will eventually be a grind towards getting the point here for Torbulance, but that's a huge self-destruct. Doesn't get anyone. Nice shield placement. Nice dodgement. That was so close. I really thought that was going to get someone, but I guess Class Nation wasn't on point this time. And finally, Torbulance gets it, but that was a long fight.
I mean, that fight was long enough that Tony has now hit 3 amplification matrices in this round, which is absolutely nuts. He's at 60% of another. His ultimate builds so incredibly quickly, and now it's going to have a lot of impact as they can kind of set up defensively. They can control the choke points a little bit more, although SK wrapping around to the high ground are going to be able to find their approach.
And it doesn't matter if they use all those ultimates, because they get them back so quickly. Druin is already close to the Supercharger once again. It's probably going to go down straight away as they get it. They don't read it just yet, because there's the Amplification Matrix again. They get a lot of healing out of it. They get a lot of damage out of that. It's going to be Lugmino and Red Sledge falling next to Druin. But Druin is not as impactful, because he might be able to get rezzed up. That's a nice Graviton Surge, though. Will they get the kills? It doesn't look like it, because Tony and Lure do so much healing together. And Snozzler going very low, but there's another Immortality Field. Huge shatter coming in from Red Sledge, though. They will probably clean up this fight. Might even clean up the series here with all those kills coming out. But it's only Tony. Tony had thrown out the Immortality Field. Snozzler and Lure finally falling as well. So does Druin. Looks like SK is finally going to clean this up, but that's, again, such a long, drawn-out fight. And they do finally get it, but both teams using so many ultimates in that.
Right, and now, you know, Torbulance having to make some swaps here towards the end of this map. They swap every single hero in their lineup, so this next fight going to be rough. They're going to be pushing into a rally potentially. Lugmino could get this trans. They've got to get some kills here and now.
Yeah, Druin goes very low. Raccoon already falling, and that's just going to be a hold-on defense here. Another nice shatter from Red Sledge to seal the deal. Yes, there's someone on the point. I think it's Lure just on the Lucio trying to stall out a little bit longer, but that's usually not going to be enough. I've seen teams pull that back with the Lucio on the point, but it's not going to be the case this time around. Valiantly fought from Torbulance, but they're going to have to bow to the power of SK Esports. They're going to take away the win tonight, and in a 3-0 fashion, it's not exactly reflective of the true games, but they did look a little bit better overall.
Certainly, it was more just kind of a consistent edge that they had throughout the night. You know, it wasn't like they were rolling Torbulance in every fight. It was very much a case of the little mistakes from Torbulance and the little kind of micro plays from SK really getting them the edge over the course of that series.
Yeah, and we're gonna look at game modes. They got extra rounds on literally every map. So they got an extra round on Junkertown. They got extra rounds in Hanamura. They got a third or quote unquote extra round on Lijiang. So they got it everywhere. So that's definitely not the same as we saw in the first series, where it was a more steady overpowering. But still, it was a pretty close series.
It definitely was. I mean, a solid showing for Torbulance here, but SK have to be feeling very happy with how they came out here tonight, getting their first win of the tournament, moving on into the lower the upper bracket, where of course in the next round they'll be taking on Redacted.
Yeah, definitely. And Redacted, I mean, they showed up really good tonight, but maybe SK is going to be showing up even better. I mean, it's all possible. We don't know everything. Can't predict the future. What we can predict and we can tell you is that we have an interview. And who do we have today, Shy Guy?
It's going to be Lum joining us from SK Esports, fresh off the victory. Lum, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys?
We're doing excellent. We just got to watch some really good Overwatch players play a game. So we're feeling pretty good about everything here tonight. I want to ask you guys a little bit about the way this series goes. Were you surprised at all by the amount of Bastion that you saw, both from them and how much that you guys played it here tonight?
Mm-hmm. Well, with all this stuff about, like, I'm not sure if it's rumors or it's true. It's probably true, but with all the stuff about 222 lock, everyone's been playing 222 in scrims a lot, and so you kind of get used to seeing it because Arista's so good, and with that comes Bastion. It's like two evils go hand in hand. So I've been kind of acclimating to it, so not really surprised.
Certainly, and I mean, it definitely looked like your team is on the path of getting towards 222, playing a lot of those damage dealers, but not really leaning fully into it like you see some teams going, like the triple DPS setups all the time, really getting ready for the what might be to come in the future. But for right now, you start things off with a 1-0 with a 3-0 win here tonight. Was there anything at all that Torbulance brought to the table that caught you guys off guard?
I mean, I don't mean to shout a particular person out, but Rakuna's brig is pretty insane. I used to be on a team with that man, and his brig scares me. Like, I'll wake up like sweating like 4 a.m. from a nightmare, and I realized it's because I was dreaming about Rakuna, and he whiplashed me off the map again. He's crazy at brig, dude. It's unparalleled.
Yeah. For all those people who say there's no skill on brig, guys, there truly is. It's not that easy, but yeah, it's always good to hear players have such an impact on someone. As terrible as it is for you for sleepless nights, it's still good that people can have an impact on someone's life by playing a video game, right?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So looking forward into the rest of the tournament a little bit, in the next round, you guys are going to be going up against Redacted. Is that a team you're at all familiar with? Have any prep to do beforehand?
The philosophy with our matches is we prep the best, we scrim good scrims, and we go in with level head. We go in and win the match. So we're not really super worried. We're just gonna do our best.
That's a pretty good mentality to have. Going into any tournament match, it in my mind kind of helps keep you, from getting in your heads before a game even gets started. So I like to hear that from you guys. But before we wrap things up here a little bit, I want to give you the opportunity to perhaps shout anyone out that you want, give thank yous, really shine the light on anyone that you want to talk about.
Well, since he's not in the lobby, our head coach Cup of Ice, he's a pretty cool guy. You should go see him. He's a pretty good coach. We wouldn't be really anywhere without him. Other than that, just the Cyanite org for hosting our team. as you can tell by their name. But yeah, pretty cool org. You should go check them out. Other than that, just anyone who's involved in their coaching or like staff, they slate. Like, okay, if it was just us 6 players, like we probably wouldn't be able to get scrims because we're kind of NA. So we kind of need them. We're kind of dependent on them. So I want to shout them all out.
All right.
It's the right shout outs to do. You know, support staff, they don't always get the credit that they need.
Yeah, they're not.
So
They're
it's
not
always-
in the game, so it's like some people just don't think they exist.
I
there's a
mean,
lot that goes
yeah,
behind.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, no, I can definitely understand that. You know, that's why I do casting, because I can actually people actually hear me. You know, like if I coach, it doesn't work. Also, I am also a pretty terrible coach, but that's that's the second reason why I don't.
That's a talk for another day.
Yeah, let's talk for another day. What's also for another day is going to be the other matches of the tournament. We don't have anything else for you tonight, unfortunately. But before we go, we do want to give a huge shout out to OmniCoach, because OmniCoach, they're helping us out. We help them out, and they also want to help you out by knowing us, because we did actually get a promo code from them. And if you want to get a video session with them, the first package going to be 10% less that you pay for that if you use our lovely promo code, which once again, I'm gonna read it out for you guys, is going to be Star Esports. I don't know if it's going to be important that you use capitalization or not, because it's the S in Star is going to be a capital, and then it's a space, and then Esports, correct way to write it, capital S, the first one. Everything else is just normal letters. So that's the one, that's the code. Definitely use it. Definitely go check them out. Even if you're not going to buy anything from them, look at it, because it's a really nice service that they're providing to everyone, and it might actually help you improve your game. Even if you if you don't think you're good, you might actually be in Lum's position at some point and be able to talk about someone else making you get nightmares. So who knows? For that's going to be it for us for now. If you want to hit me up on Twitter or on Twitch somewhere, mostly on Twitter. Twitch is not happening right now. It's MetaClassOW. I think Shy Guy, if you want to find him, he probably also has some channels you can follow.
That's true. You can follow me on Twitter at ShyGuyOW. That's the easiest place to find anything and everything that I'm doing. But before we go, I do want to take the opportunity to shout out our MVP of the match here tonight, and that is going to be War of Torbulance, the main support. Didn't come away with the win here tonight, but you've got the win in the viewers' eyes, taking home the MVP.
Yeah, sometimes love is all you need, but it's not all you deserve. I don't know really where I was going to go with that one. I just wanted to do the Beatles lyric and be done with it. What we are going to be done with is tonight. So no more Overwatch All-Star Brawl for you tonight, but Star Esports is happy to present it back to you. And I think we're already back tomorrow, so definitely tune in for that one. It's going to be some great matches. Is it going to be tomorrow?
No, I'm afraid
not.
not. We will be back again next week, of course.
That's
starting
fine.
things up on Monday. Once again, this is the last one for this week. But it's been a pleasure, getting to start this tournament off on a very good note here tonight with some excellent games, and I cannot wait for what we have in store for all of you at home.
See you next week, guys.